Hello, my beautiful light beings. Welcome to the Magic Exists podcast with Danny Margot. For anyone who is on their personal development or spiritual awakening journey, transitioning from third dimensional living to fifth dimensional being, we talk about things that are magical, transformational, past life, galactic, psychic, akashic, and embodying the magic that they were born to be. Welcome back to the Magic Exists podcast with Danny Margot. I have an amazing guest here. Her name is Erica Rose. She is an author, intuitive, and spiritual teacher from Long Island, New York, devoted to helping others rediscover their magic and manifest lives filled with love, joy, and purpose. Erica is an author of Magically Ever After, Manifesting Your Fairy Tale Romance with Angels, Mermaids, and Fairies, and Enchanted Numerology, a magical numerological guide to manifesting your dreams, which I really want to talk about because I really want that book. Erica has spent over a decade guiding others, specializing in manifestation, numerology, past life healing, and intuition development. Erica empowers her clients and readers to believe in their magic, manifest their dreams, and become the authors of their own fairy tales. Welcome.
Hi, yeah, thank you for having me. And it's so fun because we've been Instagram friends for years, so I'm excited we get to chat properly like this.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So first thing, I do really want to talk about like how you got to where you're at now, kind of like what's your story and how you were able to like really have that, fairy tale life on Instagram. I loved your wedding. It was so beautiful, like Cinderella. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a Disney wedding. It was so fun. I had like the sparkliest dress. We went all out with the horse and carriage. It was so fun. Very my husband's a Leo sun. I have a Leo stellium, so it was big big Leo energy. We could not hold back. um but yeah, so how I got here was I just always, ever since I was little, I always loved fairy tale vibes. I always loved magic. I always believed in magic. I always loved stories that transported you to another world because they always just felt so real to me. And then when I was about 16 years old, I was at a friend's birthday party where her grandmother and mom, they were both psychics and they gave us readings, but they also taught us how to like use angel cards, how to use pendulums. And I remember my friend's grandmother had said that this wasn't something she was like born with. It was something she developed over time. And I had thought this was like, I always wanted to be psychic. I loved That So Raven was my favorite show.
Oh my gosh,
And
yes.
yeah. But I thought it was something you got to be born with. And I was like, oh, I wish I was born psychic. But hearing that, I was like, oh my God. So I went full in on just learning everything I could. And I didn't ever think about that, like, oh, I can make a career of this. Like, that was never my intention. It was just that this fascinated me. And it was the closest thing to magic in this realm that we could access. And so I just learned as much as I could. I always joke that my best friend and I, while like other teenagers were at like parties in high school, we were like in her room doing like a meet your spirit guide meditation. We would read cards for each other. It was so fun. And then after college, I took like intuition development classes, and it just always kind of was like a therapy where it helped me feel so much better. And talking to my angels and guides just helped me feel like I was on the right path. And, as I kind of developed more of that, it just kind of happened that it kind of became a thing I wanted to do as my career. In my career, I was a graphic designer. I did motion graphics for sports, very opposite. Like I literally made like jumbotron graphics for professional sports teams. And but I just wasn't happy. It was very like sports is a very toxic industry. And so on the side, I created like my Instagram account where I was just sharing manifestation advice, sharing all the magic, still in hopes to become like a published author because that had always been my dream. And then in the pandemic, I was laid off of my sports job, which was a blessing because then I'm like, all right, I can just go full time into spirituality. So I just like really dedicated myself to building that up. And then I found a Spirit and Soul Studio opened, which happened to be in my hometown that I grew up, which is wild. The owner, Tiffany, we actually went to the same high school, different years apart, but like the same high school. So it's just like a weird, we weren't there at the same time, but just a weird coincidence. And yeah, and just from here, I've been able to, expand and help more people and really do spiritual work full time. And that led to like my book deals and all of that. And that's where I am.
I love like all the divine synchronicities that kind of came into play and like you used as opportunities to kind of take that deep dive into starting your business full time and then looking at spirit and soul and like, oh my gosh, like this girl went to high school. I love that so much. And so I want to talk a little bit about your books. Like
Yeah.
what fueled, I guess, your desire to write? And what was that process like being someone who was taking really a leap of faith into your full spirituality and curiosities?
Yeah, so same thing kind of from the beginning of my life. I always loved writing stories. My first story, it was just a bunch of scribbles with pictures about it. I remember it was about like aliens in a cave, which is pretty pretty on brand for who I would become. and but I was just always writing stories, always creating, and I really wanted to be a fantasy author. Like when I was a teenager, I always wrote all like fantasy magical stories, and I would try to get those published, and I just got rejected. But also, I see I got rejected because I was 17 years old and like I had good ideas, but like they were not publishing ready at all for sure. But I'm still proud of me for like putting myself out there and getting hundreds of rejections. But then when I kind of got more into like doing spirituality as a business because I had been doing my own practices for so long, I realized I had so much knowledge to share. And it felt like just a natural transgression to be like, wait, what if I wrote about self help? Like, what if that's spirituality? And it's still kind of taking that magic aspect, but making it real. So that was something I had been working on and trying to find the right publisher. And luckily I found my publisher, Muse Oracle Press, and I had a conversation with them because I actually initially submitted to do a deck with them, an Oracle deck I really wanted to create, which hopefully will still come one day. And then when I was talking to my publisher, I was like, I also really want to write about manifesting love because that's one of my favorite topics. Manifesting love is one of my best triumphs. And I mentioned how I love working with angels and fairies and mermaids. And my publisher was like, oh my God, like let's do that. Let's make that a book. So I actually kind of got the approval for that project before I had even written it. So that was really cool to like then kind of go backwards and be like, okay, like I have this contract signed. Now, how do I write it? And just really like outlining all of that. But I really just tried to write from the heart and think about what helped me the most. And in my book, Magical Ever After, I really try to pose it towards like younger me. Not that it's for like a younger audience, because it definitely benefits people of all ages. I just mean like an earlier version of me who was struggling in love and like, what did she need to hear? What would have been everything for her? What would have helped her? And also like what did help her? And I really just wanted to incorporate that like magical living because I think that's so important to creating love and a life we love is just bringing in that romanticized vibe, seeing the best in everything and seeing that life is actually magical for sure. And then, yeah, then after that, actually, my publisher had wanted me to make like a freebie or something I could give away. So I did a PDF like booklet about numerology, what your personal year says about your love life to tie into that. And she was like, that would make a great second book. And I was like, if you want me to, I'll do it. Like, I will never say no to a contract, a publishing deal. But then that was in like October. And she was like, can you finish this by December? And I was like, yes, because we don't say no to our dreams. So then Enchanted Numerology, this was last fall. I wrote it all like within the course of like 2 months, just working on it every day. But that one was good. It's really channeled out of me. I really connected to like my guides to help write it. And yeah, now it's coming out soon. It comes out at the end of the year. So I'm excited about that.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I remember watching one of your stories and like you went into like Barnes and Noble and I think like your book was on there and I was like that's just like so inspirational for
Well,
anyone who wants to, write a book. I really want to get into numerology, but before, I really believe, I mean, this is like the Magic Exists podcast, right? Like when I started this podcast, I was like, what am I going to call it? And literally like within 24 hours this name came and I believe in romanticizing love and life. So I'm
yeah.
curious, like, what are a couple tips that you shared in the book? Because like, I guess, was love always easy for you, or was it always hard for you and there was just this, like, revelation that came? Because for me, I felt like love came easy, but I could never hold on to it. Like, I
Ooh.
have a lot of exes who would tell me like, they would tell me they love me and then they would stop. And so it was
Oh.
definitely like this part of me that was like, didn't feel worthy of the love, right? And so
Mm.
it's been this whole process of now that I'm married and just in love with, like, my best friend and love of my life.
Uh-huh.
And like that what you talk about, just being so in like, every day is magic. Every day, like, I feel like I don't have enough time with him. I'm like, that's what I'm, like, currently manifesting, like,
Yeah.
my business, like, kind of blowing up so we could work together because 'cause we've, like, talked about it, but just
Yeah.
having more time together. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. No, love actually was not easy for me at all. Like, I felt like I was just always the single girl, and that's what I then identified myself as. So it really took me going inwards and really realizing I had to rewrite my identity because I was always kind of like seeing my friends or other girls, like, having boyfriends, having girlfriends, being so happy. And I was like, it's just me. Like, and I had like a constant loop. Like, there was no one good. Like, sometimes I'd have people come into my life, but it would never go further than, like, a month or 2, that was it. Like, I never was able to have, like, a long-term relationship because internally, I can see now that I didn't think that was even possible for me. Like, I kinda labeled myself as the girl that does not have that serious love, that it doesn't last for. So I really had to do a lot of work and just really rewrite my story and be like, "No, this is possible for me. It's so easy to meet someone good out there. I am the girl in a relationship." I remember like saying that a lot, like, and just really kind of opening space in my life to like visualize a partner like always with me. And that's what really helped turn it around. I also always had a belief, and I think it's a bit of intuition versus manifesting, where I was like, I like had said this since I was a teenager, where I was like, it's only ever going to work out with the love of my life. I remember being like, "Oh, that's why these romances don't last because I'm only ever meant to like be actually in love with the one." And so I feel like that's actually what I wound up experiencing. And I think it's intuition, but I also like made that a rule of my life. So I also unintentionally manifested that. Because my husband has been like my only long-term relationship, but I'm like glad for that because I'm like, okay, good. We didn't have the mess of the past. Like we're solid with this one.
Yeah, it's this, like, level of, like, just trust, right? Like, even if it's not working out right now,
Mhm.
it's gonna work out with the love of your life, and yeah, I think it's just something I have a lot of clients who are, like, searching for love, and they want their love, and it's, like, very much this outward energy of, like, I'm gonna find it," but it's, like, what I noticed, it's, like, I needed to shift my perspective on what love was because it was easy
Mm,
for me to, like, date men, but then to actually have them, like, fall in love with me was, like, a different level of
mm,
depth that I think I hadn't maybe reached myself because I was, like, compromising myself or I would,
mm,
like, adjust myself to accommodate their needs. And so
mm.
when I really, like, was able to find my own worthiness and love for myself was when I think things began to shift. And I really went into gratitude to, like, little things, like, I'm so grateful every day for my husband going to work and, like, grateful that he's alive and grateful that, he's sweet, and I tell him that every day, and I feel like being so in, like, gratitude of that energy, I feel like there's something there where he, like, will honestly, like, do anything for me. There's this, like, energy about, like, reciprocity and receiving and being seen and witnessed in a way without any limitations. Some like, allowing people to be witnessed, in a relationship, I feel like it's such a beautiful thing to, like, learn and grow with someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I always guide people on manifesting love is I feel like it's so great to be grateful for all the love you already have because people feel like when they don't have a romantic relationship, they're like, I don't have love. And I think definitely younger Erica thought that too. But then a big thing for me was being like, no, I have a lot of self love. I have a Leo stellium. I have a lot of self love. I was like, I have a lot of love for my friends. I have the love of my family, I have the love of my hobbies, my things. I didn't have pets, but people have love for their pets. Like when you open your eyes and realize that there's actually so much abundant love around you in all its forms, that and being grateful for that, that's what really makes you a magnet for that romantic love as well.
Yeah, I love that so much. Like when kind of like when you stop searching and you're like, "Oh, I'm rich in within it," is like
Yeah.
when that like energy aligns or that love aligns. I love that so much. Okay, so numerology is something that I have been really interested in and curious in. And I bought this book and it was very underwhelming. And so I'm excited for your book to come out. But tell us a little bit about numerology and how that can like support someone on their like journey of life.
Yeah, numerology is so fascinating to me. It's something like I discovered like probably close to 20 years ago. Like I always want to say like, oh, like a decade ago. And then I'm like, oh no, 2 decades ago. And it is actually an ancient divination practice, and it's similar to like astrology. And it is like ancient mathematicians really realized that numbers held like a magical vibration and they held meaning to them as well. And when the numbers showed up, they could tell things about the energy that would be working. And indicating the numbers could give them clues as to, what was happening, different future insights, self insights. So now in numerology, we take your name and your birthday, your name from birth, and we can get those down to not like single digit numbers, and those will give you different indications of like who you're meant to be, what you're meant to do, how you're meant to do it, what motivates you, along with the different cycles of your life. That's one of my favorite aspects in numerology is we have personal year and personal month cycles. They're numbers that will be in that every single year has a different numerical theme, and that will support us on what's going on in our lives. And when I discovered this, I had found that it was so incredibly accurate. Like it is spot on, which is amazing because it gives us like a focus, and then it also knows what we can expect for the next several years to come. And I also like we even have each month has a different like subdivision within the overall theme. And that for me has also given me a really great focus of like, okay, well, here's what I need to do this month, or this month's going to be harder. This month's meant for fun. Like this month's meant for love, things like that. So it's such an incredibly helpful tool, I think, for anyone because, a number like your life path number, which is who you are at the core of your being, you can use that as like your North Star, as like your guidance to when you don't know what to do, follow that. Just follow even an ounce of that. Or we have like our an expression number, which is like how we're meant to go about this. So some people know what they're meant to do, but they're like, how am I going to actually make this happen? Number will tell you like how you best operate, how you best manifest. And again, especially really working with the cycles of your life helps you figure out how to plan when the best time to manifest love, career, success, all these things are. And I've just found that for myself and my clients, like working with that energy, working with our numerology has just skyrocketed things to another level. It's very similar to working with the astrology. It's just like an extra factor to really help you understand and like magnetize.
I love that. I had a medium who would start off with my numerology and then she would like share, whatever she was channeling after. And I remember in the beginning, she like did mine and my husband's and it just really resonated, right? It was like a permission slip of like how I am, which is what all modalities give you, right?
Yeah.
But I remember she said I'm a 4, 5, 9.
Ooh.
And so I guess the 4 is like structure and 5
Mhm.
is like freedom. So they're always like
Yeah.
combative actually. So until I can like
Yeah.
align them,
Uh-huh.
it like can be like chaos. And then 9 I think is like spirituality. And so she was like, "Oh my gosh, you have like a 999 in your chart," which I was like, "Oh, I mean, I don't know what base she was reading, but I love that she also like compared my husband's because she was like, he's a 5 too, or
Oh.
he's a 2 5. So we both have fives in our chart. And so it was like this sense of freedom. And so I remember she was like, oh, you guys are very independent, but like together in that way. Like we have freedom within our relationship. And I was like, yes, exactly. It was like so beautiful.
I love that. That's so fun. Yeah, like in my own numerology, like when I look at it with my husband, so I'm like a life path 7, which that is like intuition, spirituality, knowledge, all of that. And he is a balance 7, which is balance is how you de-stress and come back into yourself. So it's like my life path understands his like de-stressor. So like when he is stressed, he needs to go inwards and like really tune into spirituality, tune into his intuition and like kind of process that. And like, I get that because like, that's how I kind of operate like all the time.
Yeah, I love that. So what else about your life past 7? Like, what else is like has supported you knowing that you're a 7?
Yeah, honestly, so 7 is just like intuition. So it just shows me that leaning into my intuition has always been the right path for me. And it just so happened for me that I happened to become a spiritual teacher, which is like the most 7 to 7. But even if I had chosen a different path, I still would have been drawn to intuition and I still would have needed to use my intuition and to like connect to my guides, to meditate, to do that inner work, to learn more, to support me on no matter what path I'm going through. And 7 is also somebody who goes really deep. I think a good celebrity example is actually Taylor Swift is a life path 7. And if you think about
Oh.
her lyrics, she analyzes her life like so deeply. And her lyrics go to a much deeper depth. I'm saying deep too much, much deeper depth than like anyone else. And she's so analytical. So like she's a 7 and she's not a spiritual teacher like I am, but she is that philosopher where she's trying to make sense of her life. And I know she uses her intuition for sure.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I love that. Can you tell me a little bit about 9?
Yeah, so 9 is like the phoenix. 9 is somebody who overcomes challenges. 9 energy might be like you have a little bit harder challenges than most people, but they don't fully knock you down. That's why I think of them as the phoenix because each challenge makes you stronger and wiser. And it is big like humanitarian energy. You care a lot about other people. So in that 9 energy is usually taking the challenges that you've learned and allowing that to help other people in similar situations so they don't go through the same thing. Like, for example, I know a life path 9 who she unfortunately suffered from domestic abuse and violence. But when she was able to get free of that situation, she really worked on healing herself. And then now she works with a shelter to help protect other women going through the same thing. So that's such 9 energy because it's using your own struggles to make things better and easier and be more supportive for other people as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that resonates so much. I love the phoenix archetype. I love that. I'm
Yeah.
curious, I guess, about like master numbers because I feel like I have a lot of clients that come to me that are master numbers, and the energy that I get is kind of like they have a lot to overcome, and
Yeah.
sometimes they can get in their own way. But when they are actually in their power, they're like so powerful, right? Because they're like the ones who are meant to be like Yeshua energy, right? Like ascended master
Yeah.
energy. I'm curious, yeah, if that was accurate.
Yeah, no, actually, absolutely spot on. So the master numbers are 11, 22, and 33. And yeah, exactly that. People with those placements, I always say it's like they set life to difficult mode. So like the 9 has like difficult mode, but I'd say the master numbers, they did advanced, advanced mode. And these are people who definitely may have a lot more trauma to handle, like than most other of the other signs, but they have the potential for higher rewards. So it's like you go through a lot, but you live life on just like a bigger level in all of its forms. And in similar energy, you are meant to also extend to not only yourself, you're meant to use that to help other people, to help like humanity in what other way. Because 11 is like the master manifester. So you're supposed to kind of like lead by example. 22 is like the master builder. So you're kind of in charge of building that structure and especially like working with the team to kind of create better structures for humanity. And then 33 is like the master sage, the master healer. Like they're very wise, very healing. That's that like Yeshua Jesus energy as well too.
My gosh, this is so beautiful. Definitely, anyone who's interested in this, go to Erica for a reading or get her
Yes.
book that's coming out in December. I just feel like all these are like permission slips to really lean into like what you've been feeling. And absolutely with my life path 9, I feel like I that's exactly what I do. I support others who have kind of gone through my same wounding or tribulations. And I'm able to support and teach what I've like worked through. So that is
I love
so
that.
resonant.
Yeah, and that's what makes you such a good teacher. It's because like you've been there. You're not just like talking the talk, like spewing out advice, like you've actually lived it. So you can like speak from the heart and speak with that humanitarian heart of being like, I know, so I'm going to help you. So that way you don't have to, it's not going to be as hard for you as it was for me.
Yeah. Yeah, like, it's kind of like any coach or course, right? You're like, I learned all these things, and now I have this course, and it's like silver platter. I'm like, "Here, do you wanna learn all these things?" And I mean, that's what I love about books or courses where you're just able to, like, quantum leap in a way instead of, like, you having to kind of, like, I'll read a little bit of here and here and here and kinda piece them together,
Yeah.
which I think could also be a little overwhelming and having to use your discernment when there's so much information out in the world, and I think this is where intuition can really
Yeah.
play a big role of like, really trusting yourself and being able to use discernment when it comes to information in general. So I know you hold beautiful circles in person for the people in your local area, and you use a lot of fairies and angels. And fairies is something I haven't really tapped into on this podcast. So I'm curious, yeah, what your relationship is with them and like what they want like the world to know if someone was like curious or interested in working with fairies.
Yeah. I love working with fairies because I feel like they're just so like magical, just so happy. And they're funny because, when we talk to our angels, like they're always like, oh, my dear blessed, of course it's going to be okay. But fairies can be sassy because in the elemental realm, like things exist in balance. So like they're not of like that. I mean, of course, I don't want to say like they're not of light because they are of light. I always work with beings of pure light, but they're not at that like high vibration of the angels. They're closer to earth. So they are a bit more like us, where they're like, tell it to you like it is. And I like connecting to different fairies of all different types because it's elemental. So it's fun to like connect with the flower fairies or like connect with the fairies and like the plants in your home or go outside into nature. But with fairies, it is always important to use discernment and to always say, like, I am only available to work with fairies of the purest level of light and love with the purest intention for all involved. Because, in that elemental energy, you have powerful light, powerful dark, like you can get, some of the trickier ones in, but I have always set those intentions and I have only worked with ones that are of like my purest soul. And I feel like the fairies in general just want to remind us to have fun and that magic exists in real life. Like recently I was connecting to them and they told me like, don't be disillusioned by like your human suit. Like you literally are pure magic and you can create anything. So like stop doubting yourself. And like I feel like the angels will like tell it to you nicely where they'll be like, of course you can do anything. But the fairies are like, girl, stop doubting yourself. Like, get stop. And they're really fun to work with. But yeah, they just want to encourage us to bring more of that fun and magic, and that life doesn't always have to be so serious and hard. And that part of the joy while we're here as a human is to find joy and to have fun and to be creative, be artistic, enjoy food, enjoy music, like enjoy all these things that you can't really enjoy on the other side as well.
Yeah, I love that so much. That has been a theme that I've been receiving as well, just from the Akashic records of just
Mhm.
really leaning into the joy and, shifting your perspective of what you get to do in life. And yeah, just really embracing all of humanity without like that guilt or judgment. And this is bringing curiosity to connecting to fairies. So I definitely want to experiment with that. I connect with the elemental realm with like our dragons, elemental
Ooh,
dragons, the earth dragons, fire dragons,
love that.
air dragons. The fairies is something, yeah, I have not connected to. So I'll definitely tap into that. So Erica, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, so I post most online on Instagram. I'm at erica.rose.enchanted, and that's Erica with a C. And then from there, you can also find my own podcast, the Enchanted Numerology podcast. And I also teach classes at Spirit and Soul Studio, which you could attend in person if you're local to Babylon, New York, or all of our classes are virtual as well. You can also book different readings with me, like numerology readings, to kind of help you better understand your path and purpose. And of course, I have my book, the Enchanted Numerology book, coming out later this year.
I will list everything in the links in my bio where you can find Erica. Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom here today. And until next time.